If everyone's ready, let's call this meeting to order. First piece of business. Do we need to take roll?
Oh, did you hit streaming?
Okay. So, approving August meeting minutes.
Do you want to take roll? Or did we take roll?
You've not taken
We haven't. Amy said we didn't need to. I haven't.
I'm good.
Okay.
We can do it.
Yeah, okay.
Kevin Campbell?
Here.
Kevin McGuire?
Here.
Amy Streeter? Here. Jenny Fowler? Here. Johnny Yergang?
Here.
Paul Bates? Here. Angela Linville? Here. Sarah Lambert?
Here.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Approving August meeting minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the August meeting minutes.
A second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. EDC budget review.
Okay.
Paul?
That is what I'm supposed to. I will tell you right now, we're looking at 2026. Your revenue will stay just about exactly what it is this year, about $607,000. There's no increase based on the numbers we got from the state. So for next year, we can assume the same amount of revenue. As far as expenses go, you guys are in line. The only thing you probably want to talk about today is the okaying of the North American Health Foundation $200,000. That's the one piece in the budget you can see where it's empty. Otherwise, we have not been spending as much on the marketing so far. I'm sure there'll be some of that coming. The big program for exteriors is only at the $5,000. Is there any more on the way? I don't know. It'll be $25,000 budget. And the interiors program, the same way, we had $25,000 budgeted, but we only spent $544. That's why we have the amount that we have there. So any questions?
So with the new tax law passing, we're not expecting next year to go down?
The tax law that affects us most is property taxes. That is a big effect next year. I'll talk about that. Expense at my budget meeting.
Okay.
But this is economic development is funded by local income taxes.
Good.
And therefore, it is not, actually it's slightly down in Brooklyn County, but it's higher for us in Franklin County this time of year. So the net effect is like almost identical.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Sarah. I have a question. Going forward in 2026, will we need to replace or edit what we discussed?
No, we still edit funds coming from it.
Okay.
So it's still about economic development. As I mentioned a couple of months ago, based on the changes that they made, which will come into effect in 2028, the limit will change dramatically because right now it's a set amount for economic development, for public safety, and for what we call replacement of property tax or business permit. That is going to change to the point where we are going to have, Statesville is going to have more say on what they get on the amount and how they split it up. So council will have more ability to how much money goes to economic development versus public safety versus, I'll call it the general fund.
From property taxes?
But that will be subject to us passing a local property tax. So council's gonna have to pass a local property tax.
We still don't know mathematically the amount of money that will allow to max out, which I think is 1.2% right now for the law. What dollar amount that's going to give us and how that's going to compare to what we're getting now from local tax. The state's got to tell us that. I talked to the county, one of the counties, and they said, those numbers come from the state. Until then, we can't give you a number. So that's 2 years down the road, or for 28, which is 2 years. But that's going to happen. So there could be some changes as to how the funding will be, the amount that will be funded for economic development versus the fixed amount now that goes into it based on what we're using today.
So will that number change based on who's on city council, based on who's mayor, based on who's whatever?
Yeah, it could very well, and actually, that tax has to be levied annually. You have to renew it every year, is my understanding.
It's still not perfectly clear. The percentage has to be passed. The question is, the city then will have the right to determine how many dollars are going to be used on it. Right now, it's a set amount, so I'm just saying that there could be some big changes from 28, there may not be. Depends on the way
Thank you, Paul.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask Sarah, do we expect then those big grants probably to be coming in further on in the year, closer to the end of the year?
Yes, I have that down. I wanted to do that yesterday, but I intend to do it on Monday to get a progress report on all of the outstanding program projects. I know that 3 of them are active. I just haven't reached out to the other 2, so I'll be able to let you know that at our next meeting.
Awesome, thanks. And Amy, on the interior grants, do we have interior grants out there, that are active also?
Yes, we've expended all of that, so it's just a matter of finishing a project, giving us the receipts.
Okay. And we probably expect that by the end of the year?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Paul, you mentioned the Margaret Mary payment. We don't have to do any further action on that, right? It's in the minutes that we voted to approve. Okay.
it's a question of whether or not you're authorizing me to go ahead and release that. That's all. Because it's up to you when you pay it through the year. You already approved to pay it, but do you want me to go ahead and send the next $200,000 check this month?
That's the first one, correct?
That's the second.
Second one?
Have we-
That should be paid, I believe, in October also.
And I received a letter from the Margaret Mary Health Foundation in March that said pledge payments are due by December 31st of this year. So it's our discretion as to when we can send them prior to the end of the year. But just to keep it consistent, we just pay it about the same time every year. October, September, October, that would be nice if we really had made that payment now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say go ahead and pay it. We've already
I
decided
would
to
say
do it.
you've got a handle on the finances whenever it makes sense for you.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and do it, Paul.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to do it?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on the budget? Next piece of business. Duke Energy.
I would like to introduce our new Duke Energy representative and for his titles away or his responsibility or his past experience. Turn it over to you.
Good morning, my name is Tom Dewan. I'm the Government Community Relations Manager for Duke Energy. In my second month in this role. Prior to that, I was working for a consulting firm doing strategic planning, housing studies, child care studies, etc. Before that, I was the mayor of Shelbyville for 12 years. And prior to that, I was the building and planning inspector for 18 years. So I'm a bit of an infrastructure nerd. Duke Energy is a good fit for me. Understanding the local government ecosystem is natural for me. So I just wanted to come this morning and introduce myself, make introductions, make connections. If anything comes up in the future where you have future needs, please feel free to reach out to me. That being said, I won't often forget all my business cards. But Sarah has my contact information. John and I have been in contact, and I've gotten a few cards. If I could get some, I will respond with my contact information.
Mr. Vaughn, how is it that you normally work with economic development commissions, other ones, in what capacity do we work together?
So I'm involved in 5 right now, this being my 5th in the last 2 weeks. And so essentially I set in on a number of committees. In Bartholomew County, I'm on the Sites and Buildings Committee. I also do business expansion retention essentially it's just me acting as any other member would. On economic development projects specifically, those will be handled by Misty or Aaron through the economic development portion of Duke Energy, which I'm sure most of these folks are familiar with. And then I handle local issues. I've worked on a project on the Sherman that John brought to me very early with my tenure at Duke. And I'm still working on that, John. Thank you very much. And so I respond to local concerns, local requests. I work with local not-for-profits. We do granting in various instances. And so I'll be able to facilitate grants in that regard too. We just finished up our food insecurity grant cycle, finishing up our veterans programming cycle, but I still have some additional Duke Foundation funds that I can distribute, and I have some local operations and management funding that I can do for sponsorships, things of that nature. So that, in a nutshell, ma'am, is my role.
So, when are those grants refunded? It's like January?
It's an annual calendar year.
So could you possibly come back in January and talk to us about what Duke Energy has for economic development entities or businesses that might be relative to grants?
Yeah, and again, it becomes it's specific categories, and so I'd be happy to talk offline with you if you would like, if you have specific questions, but barring any unforeseen circumstances, I plan on coming on a regular basis.
Okay. Okay. I think that, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I would be interested in hearing what those are to see if maybe we can collaborate in the future.
Okay,
And so,
just in a short, we don't do capital, we don't buy people. So it's more programming. We've granted out a significant amount of money across the state for food pantries, paper pantries, things of that nature. We've done educational programming for a number of schools. We've done sponsorships for reading programs, things of that nature as well. Boys clubs, girls clubs in Rushville's got an event coming out that we sponsored for career exploration. And so we're looking at things that would remove barriers for access. We did a digital literacy program for senior services to try to prevent scamming, to promote responsible and familiarization with digital platforms. It's a whole host of things.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, any other questions?
Just from an economic development perspective, I don't know what the landscape entirely looks like, but do you ever have kind of a GC or somebody that come to you and say, hey, we've got this project here, or our power needs, and you kind of look in the state where you have excess capacity, and I guess what my point is would it be good for, obviously, you and Sarah to stay in contact to kind of know what sites we have available, and to know, kind of
needs we may have.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, the answer is yes. The other answer is that's not my primary role, but I can facilitate that. Again, Aaron Schneider and Misty McCamick from Duke Energy are the ones who really are site-specific.
Okay.
And so I would be involved in that process, yes, from various perspectives. But yes, knowing, and I'll just tell you, in all the communities I've been in, they are either doing a site readiness programming or planning on doing a site readiness program. They identify the sites, identify the opportunities, the challenges, the typical SWOT analysis, and then come up with a strategic plan on how to remedy those shortcomings. And we certainly would be a portion of that process.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Something that I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
One thing before we go into economic development, but I received a request from Genesis Pathways to Success to see if the Batesville Economic Development Commission would be represented as a sponsor by contributing a sponsorship to the Emerge Young Innovator Summit that is coming up in November. It's a collection of all the regional schools where it brings students in, and throughout the day they're exposed I participated in it last year. I have to say that the summit is very innovative. It's not something we're seeing throughout the state at this age level. And Clarice Patterson and her team do an excellent job in facilitating, getting the members involved. I am going to be speaking on a panel, kind of a reality check that's happening in other communities like Decatur County, Shelby County, Rush County, and things like that, even more when it comes to younger students looking at potentially becoming a young entrepreneur. It's a great program, and it's a great event. Last year they held it at the Riverfront Ivy Tech. This year they're going to be holding it at the Warrensburg Convention Center because it's gotten so large, and max capacity is 200 students. So I know that the Economic Development Commission generally does not give sponsorships. However, this is in alignment with business retention, expansion, and attraction as far as attracting entrepreneurs to become successful and stay in our community.
So that would be something that Duke Energy would be interested in. So if that's what you want to speak
Yeah,
about,
exactly.
that's an example of something you get brought up. And then we did do a career fair at Batesville High School.
How many students from Batesville or from our area participated in that last year? I'll include it. I don't know if anybody else will.
50 to 60. It would be a class that is designated as a business class.
If it's
It's
that
not
many of
be a class that is a generally required class that all students have to take. It would be a class that is focused on business administration, business growth, and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost argue that this is really in line with the marketing budget in my mind, right? And what should be, this is where I'm not a marketer, right? But I mean, does EDC, does that have the ring to it? Probably needs to be the city of Batesville, I would think, right? Now, whether or not it comes out of the marketing budget and right therefore our budget, like, I think I would probably be okay with that, but I would probably look to our community development manager for her recommendation and what we do there.
It's kind of a sticky wicket in the fact that we have not given sponsorships in the past, so it would set a precedent and it would lead to a large number of requests moving forward, I would think.
That would be my concern as well, is that if we start entertaining sponsorships as marketing, then I can think about where the bigger strategy for where to best use that money.
And now that I have an alternative sitting in the room, Duke Energy, so I don't know whether it needs a vote or just
How much are they asking for?
whatever we would like to do. 50.
So, okay, so, whereas I may see what you're saying, I'll say this. I do think that, managing the pipeline for economic development is an important activity for us. I think that part of managing the pipeline, and that is managing the pipeline of, entrepreneurs learning and growing into businesses, specifically in Batesville, is part of what a community is about, right? Even though we haven't done sponsorships, I totally get that, but I do think that from the perspective of conversation and strategy for us in the future, I do think it's important to be thinking about how are we growing entrepreneurs in our sphere. And the reason I think that is because if you look at all of the businesses in Batesville that have supported the community, right, those have been homegrown businesses. And if we don't capture our own homegrown people in that pipeline, then, and help to support them and grow them, we have a very low probability of getting them back in Batesville. They will go off to college and they will stay away. And so I actually believe that I get the thing about the sponsorship thing and don't open this floodgates, but somehow I believe that we have to become active in supporting all those different areas of economic development. And one of them is pipeline development. And that I recognize is a new concept, something that we haven't talked about before, but I do think it's important.
It feels like that would really be something we could put into the 26 planning. That does make sense and plans for how the budget looks like. And what kind of the parameters are, right? Around the sponsorship. That way, if there's getting 10,000 requests, it's easy to narrow it down to things that we really know support business growth and entrepreneurship.
And
I do agree with that too.
from an economic, from growing and entrepreneurial ecosystem, that is something that I have been researching and working on with you, and particularly enhancement of this building center from a standpoint of establishing a younger cohort of 17 to 25 once they graduate from high school and they do have this interest. We need to provide some sort of support that continues to offer the services and relationship and networking opportunities for them to stay in Batesville and continue to
Get them planted here.
So that is an initiative that I have down that you and I have talked about a couple times, that in 2026 that I intend to focus on.
I think in the past, we have been very cognizant of asset development with the money that we've granted. And I recognize this is more programming related, but I think redevelopment is focused on asset development too. And so I think that there is a certain aspect of what we do that we should be considering this. And we did talk about a strategic planning session.
Sarah,
Yes, yes.
I certainly hate to be the only community that is not going to be listed if we're sending a quarter of the kids.
And especially since it started here.
So let me do further research. Find out what the average sponsorship level is. And from a city standpoint or a community development standpoint, that's the question.
I guess I'm going to mention that when you said 50 or 100 dollars, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, are we talking about thousands or hundreds?
Yeah, I mean,
The first thing that crossed my mind is how fast we can figure out a way to write a check or a number of a check for $100 excuse me, Paul took it out of economic development, put it back in the general fund or whatever, and it came from the city of Batesville. Don't care. But like, I
don't care about cash, but I can take it.
yeah. We can take a contribution today, just send me the, I mean, I wouldn't even worry about the tax form to deduct it at this point, just. I guess I'm in favor, and I understand opening up the floodgates for sponsorships, but I also think that the entrepreneurship is going to be, it should be something that we should support. And like, quite frankly, if it's $1,500, we can't write a check fast enough.
Yeah,
I was really expecting you to say 2,500 or $5,000.
that's what I was expecting. I was expecting like
I mean,
$5,000. Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I think putting, just looking and not trying to spend all of Angela's money, but I do think you're right. I do think this should be like a marketing thing, again, whether it comes from the city and we backfill it or whatever. $1,000, $1,500 or something like this shouldn't be a big issue for us.
And from a floodgates perspective too, I think that you both, should somebody else tell along, right? I mean, hey, this is education focused, whatever, but to say, hey, listen, we kind of dipped our toe in the water, this is an interesting concept. If we are going to have a strategic planning session to kind of line that out, that there's probably more of an opportunity. I just think if there's a way to nicely, push off any other requests. But
I just want to put out there that I'm just going to have to recuse myself from any vote because the Genesis Pathways to Success program and the Emerging Innovator Summit grew out of the Community Foundation. Even though they're now their own standalone organization, I just think I need to recuse myself.
Do you know what the average sponsorship
I'm sorry, I don't.
is? I was not given a guideline on that either. So,
They have like platinum sponsor.
so I guess, what is the response to my request?
Like,
I
are
would-
you asking us if we want to contribute? I would say it's very positive.
Yeah, so I think you're probably asking for how much and,
Where does it come from?
yeah.
I would make a motion, John.
Go ahead.
I was gonna make a motion that we approve up to $1,500 to be spent in sponsorship with the program that you just mentioned. I'm sure you could put that better in the minutes.
Can I ask one question before we continue that? Paul, the salary benefits and membership section, that's how close we get to spending that $400,000.
Yeah, we've got, there's a lot of discretionary programs, this possibly,
Why
I'm
couldn't this
thinking of
fall
saying
into
that
that?
possibly could just fit into your discretionary memberships, things like that that we do. I know it's different than a membership, and it's opening more and possibility more, but I mean, down to the $51,000.
Thank you,
We're
Paul.
almost at the end of the year, so.
But when is this, when are they having this?
We need to know.
November 4th.
So
Yeah.
you're actually going to have another meeting before.
We're not.
Are we not having an October meeting?
That's.
Well, but they're
They're
gonna
gonna want it.
print signs and.
So, Paul, the minutes do not need to reflect where the money comes from.
No,
Thank you.
Okay, so all we have to do is approve it, so. You're
I-
recommending your motion
Why
is-
can't, well, we already have $100,000 set aside for salary benefits and memberships that Sarah participates in, and what she's got to do, that's her budget to work with. I mean, quite frankly, it's where her paycheck and everything else comes from.
but I think it's a good idea that you brought it through as a separate individual thing.
I do agree with I do agree with that,
And it is, and I.
asking, yeah, and, yeah, I'm gonna say, you got my support to go through this, and thank you for bringing it to our attention.
So we have a motion, so we don't need to follow up with the motion.
Well, I think it's a good idea to basically say that, yeah, we are agreeing up to a certain amount of money so that we do. Sarah's going to outline this. I
Okay.
think that's a good idea.
So,
Does a motion need to be up to $1,500 subject to Sarah's discretion?
yeah, I just want to make sure I get it right in my minutes. So I think right now we have a motion to approve up to $1,500 to sponsor the Emerging Innovator Summit.
To kind of come, and that can be allocated in your membership section, if you're all right with that. And then if something happens that you think you need to do between now and December, and we need to repull from somewhere else, we'll have that discussion.
And then does that need to be seconded?
I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none,
I just recuse myself from the vote.
thank you, Amy, for that clarification.
I did check, just to share, I did check back on my meeting council notes. This, Basil says 37 students to this event. They're all sophomores who have a business pathway. So that's the audience that.
And then OA sends the other somewhere between 20-something.
I don't know.
Still better, John.
Yes, sir. So I believe Mr. Walton's employee is sending people.
Yes.
Yeah,
His class, so that's probably up to 20.
I'll get to say, I don't really care if it comes from here or OA, that's not the hill I know.
And then.
I'm glad we're sending kids I'll include that in our area.
Who is heading up the event, so we can do that section. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. marketing plan.
I had a question on this because when we had this conversation last month, the strategic session focused on marketing. What is the desired outcome that we have for having a strategic session? And what are the features, advantages, and benefits of having that? And how would we structure that? What is the desired outcome of that strategic session? I heard you mention it again, Kevin. It came up during the marketing session. I would need clear guidance on how to establish that, or who establishes that.
So, I'm glad that you asked. I kind of feel like we need I guess you call it strategy session for guidance for us for next year, right? How do we see ourselves spending the money that we have under what? I mean, we just talked about this, and you felt like that was under marketing, and we have other grant programs that we've been running, and people coming and asking for money like Margaret Mary Health and like KDF, and I really think we need to have a clearer vision of what we're about.
When is our next scheduled meeting?
October 17th.
Do we want to?
May I make a recommendation?
Sure.
I think you're absolutely right. I think before we talk about how the marketing gives me what is our ultimate goal. So I do think that it'll probably take more than an hour. And probably are going to set aside some time. Starting from a strategy session, what is our budget, what are our goals, laying out the goal section, right? Which I think always is like what we get into the conversation, what the priorities are, and then once you know the priorities, we can start talking about the tools to make that happen. So objectives, goals, strategies, measures. So if I can help,
So-
I agree with that.
So, I'm sorry, I think there might be two things that need to happen. Right, I think there's probably a strategic planning session for us, right, from overall budget, from what's our focus, what are the needs, right? Do we need to be spending more time on the industrial park versus pipeline versus
Yes.
whatever, right?
Yes.
Then I think separately, there's the marketing conversation. And I thought that, kind of you all were kind of the marketing group, right? Because, it's just, marketing is not one of my, I don't know that I want to micromanage it. I know that I said that before, right? Marketing, and if somebody has a passion for it, right? Awesome,
Here's what I think. I think you're right. When we originally started this, we had a subcommittee of people who were tasked with that. I think it's been a long time, and they've lots of things have changed, including the administration, by the way. And I do think that, whereas I agree with you, I don't want to be a micromanager either, I do think there has to be some clarity around that. And are we going to continue to support it as an EDC? Maybe we don't need to give the goals and priorities for marketing, but we do need to comment, I think, and discuss how much do we want to participate in that.
And I know from my perspective, it would be very helpful if I know what the goals are, and I can say, well, I've got some city marketing goals, which are just more like functional day-to-day things for the citizens. But what is our goal increased population? Is our goal work on the industrial park? Is our goal supporting entrepreneurs? Or how do we prioritize those goals? Then that helps me create a marketing plan, which again, I don't think you micromanage, but at least I know that the plan supports your vision for the next year.
So her saying that is more, this is a strategic planning session for us to put together what are our priorities for next year.
Right.
Rather than.
Not marketing focus, but just overall, marketing is a component.
Yes,
of,
yes.
right? It's a component.
Yeah,
Yes.
which they can go
supporting
off.
task of-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Display we're going to put on display.
But, okay, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. I mean, the three of us here know it's been a long time,
Yeah.
right? So potentially this is more about what are our priorities and vision for next year.
And I think that's something we can do, you know. Is strategic planning session, John, one of those items that we can have a private or a closed meeting without
I would say,
executive session?
I would
Okay, yeah,
think we
maybe we
could.
check the,
I would think we could. I can check with,
I do agree it's gonna take more than an hour.
Can I throw a fly in the
sure, why not?
I always do, I mean, like I'm asking
You're
for
the
questions. And maybe I'm completely off base and somebody clue me up. I feel like we've got Angela doing the marketing for the city, and we give the chamber money to help with marketing and other things, and we get Main Street stuff to help market and pay for people to do things. At some point, I think we need to figure out how to get those groups involved in the marketing, so we've got one marketing plan and have one person leading it with input from other places, so that we're maximizing our marketing dollars for the city of Batesville, not for, hey, I'm trying to do this over here, and then I'm trying to do this over here, and then we're trying to do this over here, and this over here. It's like, it seems like we're all trying to do our own thing instead of all trying to pull it in one direction toward the same thing. And I get that sometimes Main Street has a different objective, and then the chamber may have a different objective than what really the city's overall strategic plan is. But I think it would be better if we can pool those resources and all go in the same direction as opposed to just one-off little things here and there.
I think that will be a good conversation to have. I agree.
As part of the planning. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
The wheels are turning.
So as economic development director, what are you asking me to do? Set 2 or 1 strategic planning sessions?
Maybe you just need to start one.
Yeah, we need to figure out what
We need to start.
with what we want to do, and then, okay, how do we market that, and
How do we fit
involve,
marketing into that?
yeah.
If it goes longer than one session, we can have another session.
And then how or who needs to be involved to lead that session? Do we want a professional from outside? Do we want to look to some resources we currently have in-house?
Right now, I'd say
There's only-
John, Angela, Paul, and the 5 or 4 of us. There's no need of paying somebody else to come in and do it. If we start spitting all ideas, we can figure out what we want to do. We don't need.
I agree.
I agree, but since we have a former mayor in here, I'll ask Tom what his perspective would be on that. I mean, I agree. I don't think we need somebody coming in from outside telling us what we want or helping us. Maybe,
But if we get there and we're clueless,
We'll end up with a spot that we have.
and it's
I'll
the
be in
same
the
spot.
Yeah, no, I agree, John. I think that, you all have a pretty good handle on what's happening here locally. The value of bringing somebody in from the outside is just being able to organize your thoughts and prompt conversation. I assume that someone amongst you is astute enough to do that. So I would give it a shot. That's what I would do.
thanks.
Yeah, I think it would take a few swirls and if we're going down, then maybe we can understand that.
well, and I think we've hired people in the past, and I
Yeah.
don't know that the work product has been any
Yes, that was one.
revolutionary.
Yeah.
Right. So we agreed then.
So I think it's just a matter of setting up a time.
And I will note our next meeting is over fall break. I believe, according to my calendar.
Second fall break.
Is there a second fall break?
There is.
No.
I have 2 fall breaks.
And then our next meeting is November 1st.
Do we want to stay on October 17th, or do we want to push it out? I know I'm hoping to be gone that day for fall break. And think usually other people are, well, do you want to put it to the 24th?
I won't be here on the 24th.
So, what about the following week? One week is the 31st, Halloween.
The following week is
She said she'd start the 24th. What about the 10th? Are you leaving for fall break on the 10th?
So I think the kids still split
October 10th or November?
What if, October, what if we didn't have our regularly scheduled meeting unless there was something that came up and we just took 2 hours that morning to, is that first fall break?
Yeah, I might be heading to St. Louis that day, but I don't know what time.
Is House being Friday?
No.
Thursday the 9th?
I'm available.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
now available right now.
Yeah, but right now, let's see,
Sorry, what day?
the 9th of October.
Yeah, I'm available until 1 o'clock that morning.
Yeah, I'm available.
So,
I'm
October
available.
So are we gonna have this planning thing in lieu of our October meeting?
That
Or,
was just a thought.
I'd be fine with that.
I'm fine with it.
unless something rears its ugly head, then
Unless
between
I'm
now and
correct.
then, we need to have a quick meeting to discuss something simple and move on.
I'm not available. You're not available. So that you can have it without me. I mean, I am.
It's not a chance.
8?
What about the 8th?
Can't?
I have one meeting from 10:30 to noon, but I left in the afternoon on the 9th.
8th.
I can't do it on the
7?
8th. The 7th I could do
I could do it on the 7th.
it. Available.
I can do the 7th.
Sure. Yeah, I can.
October 7th.
From like 8 to 10?
That would work for me.
Sounds good.
From 8 to 10. Mr. Chairman, I should-
And Jonathan?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why we couldn't. But I'll check on that.
Okay, yeah, if not, we can use that conference room outside your office. Just let it go.
And as far as a facilitator goes, I think John and Angela and I can talk.
I'm sure Jenny's facilitated the last same conversation, but.
I have.
But yes, yes, but you had advice, I have facilitated a lot of these students, you have advice specific to the most efficient line of questioning to get us where we need to go, and I'm.
Can-
And I just, I like, I'm sure I like it efficient, get right, get some things done, not a 4-hour discussion about what the bird should be in the mission statement.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
Are you stepping up to be the
100%.
facilitator? You're good. Okay,
That's great.
Can I make another ask if we're gonna do this? Kind of, this is gonna be more toward John and Sarah and Angela, but like, bring some ideas of what you want your impact on the city to be. And
oh,
I,
yeah.
like, I don't care how far out there it is, let's, there's that, A, we really think we can get this done, and then there's the, hey, let's shoot for the moon and go from there.
So to keep everything streamlined and not confusing, Angela, do you want to take the lead on communicating out and preparing questions that we need to be prepared to answer?
And I will, I'll put together a plan so that we can walk through all the exercises that we need to. I will also look at that room that's reduced it, maybe we need to, find a conference room somewhere else that may, if up there, somewhere that has a little bit more room so we can draw things out, write things on the board. John talked to this little stuff and doesn't have a lot of extra space in it. So, but yes, I will take care of it.
Sorry. Okay, again, to reiterate that, there'll be an EDC strategic planning session set for October 7th from 8 to 10 to take place here at the Memorial Building, facilitated by Angela. Okay, looking back at the agenda, Angela, do you have anything more to share on our new plan?
No, I was looking back through my, annual reports, if there's anything specific. I will let you know that we did bring on the 4 students from Batesville, and they are really amazing. I mean, I've told people recently, you're going to bring these kids in, set high expectations, tell them right up front, you're setting high expectations, and give them challenging work. And they have stepped up and done a really good job. So they're actually producing, they're getting some things done, and at the end of their time here, I'd like to have the couple that worked on SEER-related projects to come in and do like 4 or 5 minute presentation to you, to show you what they learned and what they did, and then the others may come to the council meeting and do their presentations. But that is an incredible resource, and you know, there's way 4 of them. I've picked them for different skill sets, but I think that they can be an amazing tool for us to work for. I already have one student who's come back and said, I would stay here for the rest of my high school as my work-based learning, which means now I have a part-time person who knows what she's doing, who's willing to stay for the rest of this year and for senior year. So I think this would be an awesome resource for us that really benefits the kids and benefits us.
Ready updates? All right, well, did we get, are we gonna, there's nothing else really we need to discuss up more, anything? Gotcha, thank you. And I figured that, well, I missed something. Okay. Ready?
The governor stated early on and established Executive Order 2545 to take a look at the ready regions to establish their line properly. And the study came back, yes, and so there will be no impact to the ready regions, and they will stay as is as we move forward. The status of potential Department of Workforce Development region realignment still seems uncertain. We're in Region 9. They are evaluating our workforce regions now, so there's a chance that we may be realigned in that capacity, but hoping that that's not the case.
What does that mean to us?
Right now, we work with Southeastern Indiana Workforce Investment Board, and there are a variety of projects and programs that go through the board that help us establish ways to help underserved children with the JAG program. There are substance abuse recovery grants that we receive to help those that are wanting to maintain their employees, however they need to put some sort of program in place. They are at the down in the high schools with a variety of programs.
So and if it's realigned, what happens?
The 2 variations that I've been made aware of is that we may be realigned and coupled with the Indianapolis metro area, or we may be realigned closer to the Ohio Valley counties.
And they don't have those programs, is that what you're saying?
They do have that.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
question. What, of all those things that are available, I guess my question is, what do we actually see here? I don't think Batesville High School participates. Am I incorrect there? In the JAG?
They did start the JAG program. However, the current curriculum that they had, it was conflicting, it was not efficient. It's pretty much the same thing. So the JAG program was full for Batesville High School, because they already have a program similar to that. We did have a workforce one. We were able to get one office in our community in the Bark building. However, due to funding, they had to consolidate and it was closed.
So if we're realigned, it doesn't sound like anything changes. That they have the same programs and we will just be down the line with either Indy or the Wild Valley.
If that happens, we seem to be, we're not below it.
Can I ask you some question? What is the JAG stuff?
It is a program to take individuals who are not college bound and maybe strongest students academically and give them workforce skills so that they can obtain employment. Usually while they're still in high school, they have a job on site as well as go to school at the same time so that they're employable in the
I work with the JAG program at Shelbyville High School. Stands for Jobs for America's Graduates. The majority of the kids that run our program are at-risk kids who otherwise would probably not even be in school. They're more of a non-traditional student. They don't thrive well in a traditional classroom setting. And as was said just a moment ago, hands-on, work-based learning opportunities, more intensive one-on-one engagement with a teacher or a teacher's aide is the best curriculum for those types of students.
Thank you.
So right now, I will give you a list of if we are moving to a different region, if the region stays in place, and I can share additional information with you outside this meeting of some of the accomplishments Southeastern Indiana Workforce Investment Board has been able to accomplish. As far as, I'm not going to read to you much of the report. You've got my economic development report there, but from a ready standpoint, KDF has kicked off construction. Woo, yay. That's a project, so we're really excited about that. And then I think you can all see the progress that's happening there at the library, the Innovation Hub. And I've met with them to talk about programming that they plan to put in place from an entrepreneurial standpoint that goes in line with my thoughts for next year on bringing that cohort 17 and older. Excited to hear about that. And then not a ready project, but Depot Sport 2.0 has started. And Mayor, if you'd like to add anything.
Well, I just is the Depot Square, is that the last part of the building to be done? Is that the last phase?
My understanding is yes.
What is this?
Market rate apartments.
Sorry, I was sending emails while you were talking. I heard you mention Discovery Factory, that project's underway. I know they've got steel out there, rebar, so concrete stuff, and they've been emptying dumpsters. Another ready project is our Industrial Park Road. Kevin's aware of that. That's been bid, and we've awarded the bid. Part of that project involves expansion of the retention or detention pond. We're still working through that issue, but I think the plan there would be to get started and have that finished by the end of October.
The original plans for the industrial park road that you originally saw, what's happened is the extension has been shortened. And in terms of provide additional acreage to those back lots, some revenues are surveyed as well. So, yeah, we're really excited about all of that happening. In addition to
Yeah, so that's moving along. Originally, when the Shell building was built, I think the intention was to complete that the retention pond would have been bigger at that time to accommodate the full park, and so it wasn't. So now we're faced with that, and I think we have the funds to do that. If not, we'll be really close. And talking with John, our city engineer, it would make more sense to do that now than, an alternative would be expanded to accommodate the additional need for the road and so forth. But if we didn't complete it all at once, then we'd be faced with the prospect of pumping it out every time we wanted to expand it. So we're looking at that. Obviously, if you've driven south on Walnut Street since you're allowed, the library project seems to be moving well. I was over there the other day. They said they should have the building closed in by, I want to say, the end of November, so they'll be able to work all winter long. I think the ready money for the hospital project was approved, and I'm not sure where the hospital is with that part of their project. So, yeah, our ready funds are getting spent. I think our region is still doing well as far as getting stuff issued or paid out when projects complete. Need to bring this up. The trail project on 129 was a ready project. I need to follow up with our contractor today, but we've been waiting on bollards since May. Actually, the light fixtures for the top of the bollards, they were supposed to be in September 15. But aside from that little glitch, they seem to be going well. Everyone be patient with all the road construction. That's all I have.
All right. Any other concerns, issues before adjourning? Hearing none. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second. Can you make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none.